war over, but also don't want to give up territory to Russia.
87% support peace. At the same time, 85% against to withdraw from East. From the Donbass.
That interview will be on Fox's special report tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. Before the meeting with Zelensky, President Trump had another phone call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin, who again attacked Ukraine over the weekend with another barrage of drones and missiles. Now, today, the president hosts another world leader at Mar-a-Lago, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, discussing the war in Gaza he brokered an end to in October.
They're expected to address Iran and Gaza, with the administration keen on heading to phase 2 of their Gaza peace plan. That includes the creation of an international security force and the disarmament of Hamas. Iran's president, meantime, says they're in a full-fledged war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe, saying they don't want his country to be stable.
China, that's Fox's Madeline Rivera. China's playing war games near Taiwan with military drills around the island it claims is Chinese territory. Taiwan's military on alert, calling China the biggest destroyer of peace. A pilot's in critical condition in New Jersey after the helicopter he was flying in collided in midair with another in Hamilton. This man saw the crash, was in disbelief.
Yeah, you could see them in there. They looked fine. They really looked good.
The other pilot was killed as his helicopter burst into flames on the ground. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Support conservative conversation on the radio in Atlanta by emailing us at sales@xtra1063.com.
And a great, good after Christmas morning, Monday morning. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Victor Armendariz, your Mexican, not afraid to be American. Filling in today for the Morning Xtra. I once again, I'm honored to be here. This is awesome. I love it. And guys, I'm going to be with you today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So don't all applaud at once. You might swerve and hit the car next to you. No, don't do that. Love to be here, folks. This is great. I hope you guys all had a wonderful, great Merry Christmas. Gosh, it's always fun when Christmas Eve falls when it did, like it did this year, because, man, I am sure the majority of this country, and I know a lot of you didn't, and I don't know if you're appreciated enough, because a lot of you had to work on the 26th and some of you had to work over the weekend. But a lot of you had a very long weekend, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you spent time with family. And listen, I'm honest about this. I'm in radio. I love doing what I'm doing, and believe it or not, I love talking about politics. I love exposing Washington whenever I can. Listen, I'm not always, and I'm not in any way a negative Nancy. No reference to Pelosi, but I like to call out when I see these guys in Washington doing stupid things, and they do a lot of stupid things, and unfortunately, sometimes the Republicans do stupid things, and I'll call them out on it. I'm not a sycophant for anyone. But I will also point out positive things when good things happen. Like they were all on vacation. Washington was on vacation this past weekend, so they didn't do anything bad to us. What a great thing that is. But no, I hope you guys all had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas and great time. I hope. And what I was going to say is, even though I do enjoy talking politics, I really do. I love it. I love doing what I do. I still hope that the majority of you, I hope all of you, didn't mention politics one time over this Christmas holiday weekend. I really don't. And especially, I don't want families fighting. Listen, folks, don't lose a family member. Don't mess up a relationship over politics, and don't lose a friend over politics. It's not worth it. Do not. You're going to hear me say this time and time again. I will say it over and over and over. Do not give politicians power they don't deserve. Don't do it. Do not give politicians power they don't deserve. I understand that these politicians can drive you crazy. The media can drive you crazy, and you start to feel like your vote doesn't matter. You start to feel like your voice doesn't matter. Listen, I don't ever feel that way. I know it's tough, and you can be discouraged sometimes. But we, the people of this country, truly have the most power of any citizen around the world. You in this country, you the citizen who pays attention, you the citizen who bothers to get informed. And listen, you don't have to do the hours of research that I do. That's why I'm here. That's why you're listening. That's why you're on the other side of the microphone. You're listening so I can do the research and do this bore myself sometimes with politics, but also drive myself crazy sometimes a little bit with politics. So you don't have to. But if you tune in, and you guys that are listening to me on Xtra 106.3, you guys, I know you are astute listeners, or you wouldn't be listening to 106.3. All of you guys are great. And I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate all my listeners too that come over from listening to the Victor Armendariz show. They come over here to 106.3 when I'm filling in, and all of you guys, I love it that you do. But I tell you things so that you can have a good, clear understanding and a different perspective that I bring you, so you can go and talk to your friends and you can tell your family. If you do have family members or friends that might be flirting with the other side, and what I mean by sides, folks, right now, you can't be a today's Democrat. A today's Democrat is not someone who's caring about the country or putting the citizen first. Today's Democrat puts the non-citizen first. Today's Democrat, they want to put power acquisition over you. Today's Democrat wants to put destroying President Trump. The one guy, listen to me, folks, listen to me. Listen, I know we're starting off with a bang, and I know it's early, but when you get me up this early, somehow, somewhere, some way, I get energy. I don't know where it comes from, because as I told you guys before, I like the crack of noon. That's what I like. I'm not crazy about these early mornings, but I do find the energy, and because this stuff energizes me, talking to you guys energizes me. And I gotta tell you, when these politicians, they're up there doing some of the things they do, you stay informed by listening to somebody like me, but I want you to be able to hear what I have to say, because I do the research for you, and I can give you a different perspective, and I enjoy doing it, but I want you to be able to talk to your neighbors and your friends and your family. Don't have arguments, especially with family and friends, but you'll at least have some firepower. I want to give you some firepower, because again, today's Democrat, and again, I am not telling you guys who listen, I grew up being told I had to be a Democrat. So I'm not telling you got to go run and jump in the lap and be a lapdog for the Republicans. No, I don't want you to do that. But what I am telling you is that right now you have two choices. Would it be nice if we had another choice? Yes, sure it would. Sure it would. But we don't. You have two choices. You have the Democrats of today, and you have the Republicans of today. And right now, the Republican Party at least has enough people, especially with President Trump, who wants to take the country in a good direction that's going to help the citizen. And the Democrats want to take the country in a direction to where the only thing they care about is destroying Trump and getting more power over you. They want to make you the citizen more dependent, because they're so caught up with this socialism mess that they want to keep continuing to try. But let me tell you what my point is about everybody in Washington. There's one person in Washington, D.C. that we know is going to leave that city in 3 years. There's one person up there that's term limited. One guy that's term limited up there. Well, two if you count the vice president. But the one guy that everybody knows, the Democrats know it, the media knows it. Donald Trump will be gone in 3 years. He is term limited. There is no third term. And folks, listen, you got to understand, when the media acts the fool, when anybody mentions Trump in a third term, or when Trump mentions it and jokes around, he's joking around is what he's doing. He's trolling the media. And when the Democrats lose their mind and their panties go into a wad every time somebody mentions a third term, these people are joking. Now, are there people, some of these conspiracy nuts and these I'm going to try to be nice. I really am. But there are, unfortunately, some people on the right that they're going to try to tell you and convince you that Trump can have a third term, and they're going to do it because they make money they're raising money. These people like Candace Owens, she is, I don't know what happened to her and why she's fell off the edge, but she's making money doing what she's doing. She found a way to make money. I don't blame her for that. I don't like what she's doing because I don't like it when people mislead you. I don't like it when people use conspiracy theories to get you off track. You as a voter should be worried about things you can control, and what you can control is who's going to sit in office and raise your taxes or cut your taxes. Who's going to shrink government or grow government? Who's going to have a strong border or who's going to have an open border? Who's going to have a strong military? Who's going to have a small military? These are the things you can control. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry. I know there are other issues, and I know you're being told about conspiracy theories, this and that, and they want to go back and change history, or they want to convince you that the moon landing didn't happen, or they want to convince you that 9/11 wasn't some awful evil terrorist, or they want to all kinds of things. If you're wasting your time on that, then you're missing on what you really can change, and that is what's going to help you provide for yourself and your family. Because, ladies and gentlemen, listen, I know all the other issues out there, but listen to me and listen to me well. If you cannot earn a living, if you cannot earn to take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of your family? And if you can't take care of your family, this is what it boils down to. You may have pet issues that you want to worry about, and God bless you if you do. And if you spend time to work on those issues, that's great. But you know what you got to do first? If you don't have a way to provide for yourself and take care of yourself, then how are you going to help others? How can you go down the rabbit holes or those pet issues that you have? How can you help people with those regarding those issues if you can't provide for yourself? If you aren't self-reliant? And folks, that you have to be. And let me tell you another great thing about being self-reliant. When you can take care of yourself, then you can take care of your family. When you can take care of your family, then you might be able to help a neighbor. And when you can help a neighbor, maybe extended family, there are always going to be people that need help, and there's nothing wrong with that. You may need help one day. There was a time in my life when I had to reach out and friends helped me. That people don't mind helping when you're out there trying, or your goal is to be self-reliant. This is what I'm telling you will make your life better. It will give you more purpose. That work ethic that I talked about last week, work on it. Listen, don't be a normal run-of-the-mill person who's going to make, I'm going to work out more next year as your resolution, because you know darn well you're not going to work out more. You're going to have this New Year's resolution. You know what I'm saying. Resolution. You're going to have these resolutions, and you're going to tell yourself, like 99% of the country, that you're going to work out more, and you know you're not. So let's focus on a New Year's resolution that can really better you. Now, I want you to work out more. I want you to walk more. I want you to exercise, folks. You can help bring down the cost of health care if you do start taking care of yourself more. I mean, if you can lose a few pounds, if you need to. So I'm not saying don't do that. I'm just saying that about 90% of this country is going to say their New Year's resolution is working out more, and they won't do it, or they'll do it for about a week. So trust me, I know. I've done it myself. But I want you to add to your resolutions this time. Figure out a way. Maybe your resolution can be, I'm going to beef up my work ethic. I'm going to put in a few more hours. Listen, if you want to look up to somebody, look up to a business owner. Look up to a small business owner. These people, they don't know what a 40-hour work week is. You start a business, and my friends, I guarantee you won't know what a 40-hour work week is. I don't, now that I'm where I am, if I want to have a 40-hour week, I can do it. But even where I am now, I don't have 40-hour weeks, folks. I still work on the weekends. I'm working at night sometimes. So maybe if you're a young person and you've been told that you need a 3-day work week, no, ladies and gentlemen, no. You don't need a government person to try and tell you that you need a less hours work and this, that, or less days and you need more vacation. You don't need a government. But listen, they're only telling you that because they want you dependent on them. You make the decision on what you're going to do. If you're content with working 4 days a week or 40 hours, then good, knock yourself out. Just be self-reliant. But maybe going into 2026, which is going to be here in 3 days or so, maybe think about that work ethic. Maybe think about, you know what, I'm going to put in 50, 60 hours. You don't have to do it every week, but maybe think about these are resolutions that are going to better yourself and make you more self-reliant. And the more self-reliant you are, the less reliant you are on politicians. And let me tell you what the number one thing a politician fears is re-election. The second thing they fear is self-reliant voters. There's no politician in Washington that wants a self-reliant voter except some of the decent conservatives, some of the decent Republicans. They do. They want you to be self-reliant because they know they can govern and do good policies. Like I don't care what you think about President Trump. I really don't. But the fact of the matter is President Trump has growth policies. Every one of Trump's policies, except for tariffs, is a growth policy. And I think President Trump is going to come to terms with his tariffs. I really do. And I'm going to talk about this when we come back in the second, probably the next half hour. I'm going to spend some time talking about the tariffs and why I'm telling you, because some of you may have sat back and go, wait, what did Victor say? The tariff's not a good idea. I make no bones about it, folks. If you're a listener to the Victor Armendariz Show or you're a listener to Extra 106.3 and you hear me fill in, I don't sugarcoat things. I'm honest with you. I don't like tariffs. Tariffs are a tax, and I don't like taxes. So we'll talk about taxes too today, folks. We'll get into a bunch of things. But what I want you to remember, what I want you to take away from me, as maybe some of you are going, who is this guy I'm listening to on the radio? I want you to listen to me and take away that you're today's Democrat, especially my fellow minority voters. I want you to listen hard to me, and you tell friends about me. You tell them what I told you. Because not only do the American people, the American voter, have so much power in this country, the minority voter really has power. Really. And why do I say that? I say that because your Democrat Party of today takes you for granted. The Democrat Party of today takes the minority voter for granted. My black friends out there who are listening, you are abused and used by the Democrat Party, and it blows my mind that such a big percentage of you still won't walk away. It doesn't mean you can't go back to the Democrat Party. Maybe you'll fix it. But the only way to fix the Democrat Party is to stop voting for these people that are taking over the Democrat Party. And the only way to shock them, you have to shock them. Actually, what I should say is you have to shock the system. If you want something to change in Washington and you want the attention to be back on you, actually helping the people of this country, actually helping the citizens, then you got to shock the system. And the way to do that is you punish the Democrats. We don't need socialism in this country, and that's what your Democrat Party is trying to do to you. They want to take you down the socialist road because if they can forever make you dependent, then they will forever become a one-party controlling system in this country. The Democrats know if they convince enough of you to vote for them in the name of socialism, that they will have so much power they'll never lose again. That's their goal. Their goal since Obama was elected was to never lose another election. And I got to tell you, they thought they never would lose another election. They really thought that. But for now, one party rule and that type of stuff, that's not happening right now. And if you think right now, if you're a Republican and you think the Democrats can't win next year, you are out of your mind. So the last thing that Republicans need to do is start acting like Democrats and thinking they can't lose. Because right now, and I'll talk about this too, the Republicans are doing some boneheaded things and they're being their own worst enemy. When the Democrats are at a low right now, they would be so easy to beat next year. The Republicans, once again, are trying to get in their own way. But they've got time to fix it. So, but you as a voter, especially you minority voters, if you're in love with the Democrat Party, then you need to take it back. And the only way to do that is you stand up and you throw those Democrats out of office and you bring in some Republicans, bring in some Libertarians, bring in some independents, but you throw out the Democrats. That's the only way they're going to listen to you, because the only thing a politician, the number one thing a politician is worried about in Washington is re-election. You take away the re-election and you're going to change that party. You'll change Washington, folks. You will change Washington. We'll be right back.
Get connected to Xtra 106.3 on all your favorite apps. Then download ours and stream the station across Georgia. We're live online at extra1063.com. Stream live video from the studios on YouTube. And of course, Kimmer, Bortz, and your favorite Extra shows in crystal clear digital on the Xtra 106.3 app.
Hey, this is Matt from East Cobb. We basically bought our house from our in-laws. It was my wife's childhood home. One of the issues that we've had when we first moved in was our dog and our backyard. It was extremely shaded, could never grow grass back there. We resodded it twice. So ATL Turf Co. did an amazing job with our backyard transformation. They basically created a miniature golf hole. We have a miniature fairway. We also have a miniature little putting green. Consists of about 4 holes, total about 40 yards. So you can definitely work on your short game and your putting. After that transformation that ATL Turf Co. did for us, my father-in-law came and saw his house the way it looked after the fact of we had a putting green and a miniature golf course. Sure enough, he did the same thing with ATL Turf Co. He has a beautiful backyard, wonderful stonework, drainage, and a beautiful practice area for chipping and putting. Check him out online at atlturfco.com.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A beloved third grade teacher from Idaho who was able to take her class to a very magical event makes today's Dean's List. Talia Marley is known among staff and students for her kindness and dedication. She was recently honored for always making a difference in her school, for going above and beyond the call of duty to volunteer, help, and stay focused on making life better for all of those around her. Miss Marley was rewarded with flowers, chocolates, and a gift card for dinner. But the biggest surprise came when some representatives from Disney on Ice heard about Talia and wanted to celebrate her and her class by gifting her tickets to a show. Miss Marley was very touched by all of the attention, but she says teaching is a calling and her kids are her family. Her students love her just as much, saying they can all count on her to do just about anything for all of them. Talia Marley, you made today's Dean's List. Janice Dean, Fox News.
This is Fox on Justice. Representatives from American Eagle, Target, and the American Trucking Association urged lawmakers to pass the Combating Organized Retail Crime Act. The bill would allow retailers and law enforcement agencies across jurisdictions to better share information on these crimes. Stores are estimated to lose $47 billion from retail theft in 2025 alone. The National Retail Federation says worker safety is top of mind. Chris Spear is CEO of the American Trucking Association and says theft is becoming increasingly high-tech. And in cargo theft cases, criminals may manipulate shipping systems to divert goods to a different location instead of their intended destination. So to fight back, companies are spending more on security, higher insurance premiums, and replacing that stolen merchandise. The National Retail Federation adds that a shortage of law enforcement and prosecutors remains a key obstacle. Kelly Saberi, Fox on Justice.
Fox on Tech.
Artificial intelligence is hitting close to home, or at least one company is hoping that will be the case. Less than 5% of contractors are using AI to design and build. One startup in Chicago, Lightspeed in Glenview, Illinois, says it's bringing speed, quality, affordability, and safety to an outdated home building process. The startup says at only a year and a half in, they have the capability to build 70% of a home using their automated technology. Take the framing. The company's CEO says what would typically be maybe a year-long process or more can take up to a week because their robots will work around the clock, unlike humans. By downsizing the team and optimizing design, Lightspeed says it's eliminating excess product that the consumer pays for that would otherwise go to waste. This, as a Goldman Sachs report, says the U.S. is short up to 4 million homes. With Fox on Tech, Kelly Saberi, Fox Business.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Monday, December 29th. Atlanta police moved in Saturday night to break up a large crowd of unruly teens at Atlantic Station after reports of gunfire and fireworks. Officers say the teens initially set off fireworks in the shopping district, and as the crowd dispersed, gunshots were fired, damaging nearby businesses and a vehicle. No injuries were reported. 5 teens have been detained, and the investigation remains ongoing. Atlanta engineering students now have a new pathway into Georgia's aerospace sector with a program launched by the Georgia Aerospace and Defense Alliance, uniting Mercer, Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, and Kennesaw State. The initiative is designed to strengthen Georgia's aerospace workforce pipeline, aligning education with industry demands to keep talent and jobs in Georgia. Leaders say the effort will benefit students and employers in Georgia's top export industry. And NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal has been promoted to Chief of Community Relations with the Henry County Sheriff's Office. Shaq's community outreach work in the county spans several years. He says he's honored to serve and strengthen community relationships. Today's weather starting off wet with showers, then windy and cool with highs in the mid-40s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Miami me lo confirmó. Gente de zona. Puerto Rico me lo regaló.
Esta es mi música. This is my music. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, we're going to be a little Latino today. Welcome back, folks. It's Extra 106.3. Folks, if you haven't got the app yet, get the app. Extra 106.3 app. Get the app. You can listen to any show on the program, on the station, including myself when I'm filling in. And a big thank you to Tug and Los again for letting me fill in for them today. Ladies and gentlemen, I got so much I want to get to, but I got to tell you, somebody asked me what I did for Christmas, and look, I appreciate you guys asking that. I had a great weekend, folks. I didn't do much. I've got my bum leg, so I still can't bend my legs. But I hobbled around. The weather was I know it. Some of you like to have cold weather and even some snow for Christmas, and we didn't have that here in Atlanta, Georgia, folks. I mean, for those of you who are listening, who are normal listeners to my show, and you're out, and gosh, folks, I've got listeners in Florida and from Florida to New York to California. Those of you outside of Atlanta, we had here in Atlanta, Georgia, 70 plus degree weather, sun. It was beautiful. So I spent most of my time over the holiday, this Christmas weekend of hobbling around the property and just being outside. And I did. I got to tell you, folks, on Saturday. Look, I told you guys about my new favorite place, which is Appalachian Gun up in Jasper, Georgia. They had a car show on Saturday. So not only did you have a wonderful Christmas and then a good Friday, on Saturday I got to go hang out over at Appalachian Gun and just participate in a car show. Or I didn't participate. I just walked around and looked at all the awesome vehicles. It was great. And it was a great family affair. I took my wife and my daughter, my young daughter, and my young daughter, by the way, loves cars. She's going to be just like me. And I love it. And she loves V8s. She knew what a V8 was when she was 1 year old. so she doesn't do EVs or four bangers. She likes the V8s. And we had fun at the car show. So kudos out there to Appalachian Gun. Lots of fun. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I may do, you guys stay tuned to my social media. And let me just go ahead and say this. If you can, go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter. Find me, Spotify as well. Find me and follow me, Victor Armendariz. Just spell it correct, Armendariz. Spell it correct, Victor Armendariz, and find me and follow me. I would appreciate it. But the great thing about following me is on social media, that's where you're going to hear about what's happening, what I'm doing, and things going on. And I like to be among the listeners. Folks, I'm not high enough on the totem pole to where I'm not yet worried to hang out with crowds. I don't do crowds much anyway, just because when you're 2 feet shorter than everybody, crowds aren't fun. but I'm not at a point yet where I do not. I still like to hang out with listeners, and so maybe here soon. Stay tuned to my social media, because maybe we'll do some kind of event at Appalachian Gun up in Jasper and do something, because they're such fun people. And again, anybody that puts on a car show or flies Santa Claus in on a helicopter, that's a place I want to hang out. So it's just too much fun. Too much fun. So, all right, folks. So, what I want to, I just let me drive this home again. And during the break, producer Jerry mentioned, it'd be great to have term limits. And yeah, it would. And here's another way to know that politicians are not serious about serving you more than they are about power. And unfortunately, there are Republicans in this mix too. There are Republicans. Look at Mitch McConnell. If Mitch McConnell were allowed, that man would collapse on the floors of the Senate. And I'm not trying to be mean. Listen to me, folks. I'm not trying to be mean. I am being realistic. I don't care what party you are with. I don't care if you have a D by your name or an R by your name or an L by your name or whatever. I don't care. You should not abuse the wonderful will of the American people. You shouldn't abuse that by dropping dead in the halls of Congress. If you're going to force the people, and again, this is where I come. This brings me back to what I've talked about several times, folks, on my show, Victor Armendariz. If you are in Washington and you're a representative in the House or you're in the Senate, and I know it'd be nice to get the Senate back to where they're representing the states, but that's a whole nother topic we could get to. But if you are representing we the people, and you're going to pass some kind of law, you first. No law should be passed or come out of Washington that isn't first observed by the people who wrote it. So if you write a law in Washington and you try to exempt yourself from it, that should not be allowed. So where are the Republicans? Because I know there's some decent Republicans. There's some good ones. They need somebody up there in Washington. Some Republican needs to propose and put this in. Maybe put this through on record. I don't know if you can, but if you could use reconciliation and pass a law that says if we, the Congress, that's the House and the Senate, if we pass a bill and the president signs it, we cannot exempt ourselves from it, like Obamacare. I'm going to talk about Obamacare in just a few. Maybe some of you don't know this. Your politicians, your House members, and your Senate members exempted themselves from Obamacare. This should not be allowed. In fact, look at Pelosi with her insider trading. Now, it is my opinion that many people like Pelosi and up there in Washington engage in some type of insider trading. Again, it's my opinion. I'm not saying they're doing it, but I'm saying it looks like they're doing it. But the fact of the matter is they're privy to information that you and me aren't. And if we the people engaged in privy to information and bought stocks and sold stocks, they'd put us in jail. But your politicians, they don't get put in jail. They don't get even reprimanded, but they get rich. They get very rich. So these are the things that I'm talking about that too many of you don't really pay attention to. And listen, I get it. They don't teach you this stuff in school. They darn well aren't going to teach you this stuff in a government school. And if you wonder what I mean by government schools, I don't call public education public. I call it government. Let's call it what it is. Anytime somebody references a public something like a public school or public transportation, that's code for government. It is a government school. It is a government bus. If it is public transportation, that is government transportation. If it's a public school, that is government schools. Now, the reason I like to call it what it is because I want your attention brought to the things that are happening to you. Most of them are because of the people that we allow to represent us in Washington. So I want to call it out. I want to make it easy for more voters and more listeners. Listen, I understand many of you are not glued to politics like I am. And I don't want you to be, because my goodness, if you didn't have the crazy demeanor that I have and I'm just not normal. I can turn off politics. Even though I live and breathe it, I can turn it off and I don't let it affect me. My life, I am not going to let my life change or my attitude change. My positivity doesn't change just because a Democrat wins. Do I get sad when today's Democrat wins? Yeah, for about 5 minutes. And then I start working, I got to do something to outrun them. My goal since Obama was to outrun the mess that the Democrats are turning into. My goal is to outrun Democrat leadership when they are in the leadership. And so, and again, folks, if you think they can't win again, then you're doing yourself a disservice. The Republicans should be fighting day to day, and maybe that's not the best term, but they need to be pursuing victory as if they were losing. And that should be the way to do it. I mean, and I'll get into this in a little bit, but the Republican Party has a great chance to win next year, and you already have establishment Republicans, because many of them don't like Trump, and they just won't admit it, but they do quietly if you pay attention to them. And again, Trump isn't our enemy. Trump is just a guy that's there for in the presidency, duly elected by the people of this country. And he's going to be gone in 3 years. He's going to be gone in 3 years. So if you're caught up on Trump and you're letting Trump disrupt your life, then something's wrong with you. That's a problem with the Democrat Party today. And that's what I mean about the Democrats. They don't care about helping the American citizen. There is Joe Biden, the dementia patient, and cackling Harris caused a lot of pain to the American people. In the 4 years that they had control of this country, they did so much damage to this economy. Now, I know Trump, listen, Trump is an egotistical type of guy. He knows that he's going to fix things. He just got a little bit ahead of his skis, so to speak, by some of the just coming out and saying things are fixed just because you're elected. That's not how it works. It takes time to turn this economy. This economy is huge. And what Donald Trump is doing is right. What President Trump is doing is turning the economic ship into the right direction, to where the winds are going to be to the back of us, and we will hit a golden age. We're going to grow. This economy is going to take off. But it's taken a little bit more time than maybe even Trump thought. I think Trump thought that being elected the second time, the media wouldn't, and the Democrats would want to care more for the country than they would about destroying him. But the media and the Democrats are proving every day that they don't care about you and me. They don't care about the little guy. They don't care about the blue collar. They don't care about the middle class. They don't care about even the upper class. They only care about their elite 1% or 10%. Because that's their donors. That's what the Democrats care about. But what's sad is the Democrat Party made the cost of living for the American people go through the roof. They took inflation well into the double digits. I don't care when the media tells you it's 9%. It was 9%. It was well over 9%. The Biden administration did some very bad damage to the economy, and they did it on purpose. That's the sad part, is they did it on purpose because of their convoluted view of socialism and Marxism and the Keynesian economics, their whole thought process, and the whole you got some Democrats over there that believe in the new monetary theory. Folks, I don't have time to get in to my dissertation on the monetary theory, the new monetary theory. You can look it up. But this is what your Democrat Party has done. They did that when they were in power. Now that they're out of power and they basically really, really hurt the economy and they hurt the American people, now they're trying to tell you that it's Trump's fault. How on earth is it? Donald Trump has been in office for 11 months or so. How can this be his fault? Now, I also know, I'm smart enough to know that so many fly-by-night voters, and a lot of them voted for Trump this time in 24. A lot of you guys, you're just going to blame whoever's in office. He's been in office 11 years. 11 years. He's been in office 11 months, and you're not doing better yet. You can't feel it yet. Let me put it this way: there are a lot of good things happening in the economy, but it is going to take time for just your blue collar, your lower income person. It's going to take time for them to notice this, and even small business, it's going to take time for them to notice a lot of the good that's happening. You got to allow some time, but the problem is there's fly-by-night voters, and a lot of them voted for Trump, and even a lot of minorities that voted for Trump. You guys want instant gratification. I get it. You do, and unfortunately, you're not taught in schools. I talked about the government schools. You're not taught these things in schools. You're not taught proper economics. And my goodness, you can go to Ivy League colleges nowadays, and you're not taught proper economics. It blows my mind. But all of this is an agenda put forth by bureaucrats and left-leaning socialist wannabes. They don't want you to be mindful. They don't want you to be knowledgeable of how an economy works. They don't want you to be self-reliant, like I said before. They don't want that because that takes away from their power. So, but I want you to understand that I understand that there's a lot of people out there that are going to they're blaming Trump right now. He's only been there for 11 months, and they're blaming him. They're not blaming the Schumers, the Pelosi's, the Bernie Sanders. They've been there for 50 years. Bernie Sanders is what now, 130 years old? And all he's ever done is politics. He's never had a real job. He's only been in politics. Schumer, my goodness, that dude's been in politics for, 30, 40 years? These people have been in power for years, but you want to blame the guy that's been president for 11 months. Think about it, folks. Think about it. Does that make sense?
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Monday, December 29th. In college football, Georgia Tech ended their 2025 effort in the Pop-Tarts Bowl on Saturday against number 12 BYU. Haynes King threw for 254 yards with 2 touchdowns, but the Ramblin' Wreck fell to the Cougars despite being up 21-10 at halftime, thanks to a 4-yard rushing touchdown by BYU with 2 minutes left. Final score 25-10. In the NFL, the Falcons host the Rams tonight at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to wrap up Week 17 on Monday Night Football. The Super Bowl favorite Rams are favored by 7.5 points. Kickoff is set for 8:15. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Hey guys and girls, if you're losing your hair and you're like me, you need a simple solution that works. You want the best modern technology with top-rated physicians. Something that's guaranteed to work, and that is Advanced Hair. Advanced Hair gave me my hairline back, and it's completely redefined hair restoration from the experience itself to their unmatched results. Receding hairline, bald spot, thinning hair, address them all with a simple one-day treatment in a calm, relaxed atmosphere with the most experienced professionals. Tens of thousands, including me, have received Advanced Hair's breakthrough treatment, and get this, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day. No one else in Atlanta can offer the Advanced FUE found at Advanced Hair. Fix hair loss today, starting with your free consultation. You're also going to get $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. You want to make that call right now. 470-660-HAIR. Refine your hairline with the team that's redefined hair restoration. 470-660-HAIR or advancedhair.com. That's advancedhair.com.
I'm Ashley Dvorkin with a Fox Celebrity Profile with country singer-songwriter Christian Bush, who I caught up with at the CMA Awards, known as country music's biggest night. I asked him to share one of the biggest nights for him, a first milestone in his country music career.
My mother passed away before I ever even started Sugarland. My father, we were estranged for a long time, and I invited him finally to come to the CMAs, and we were doing an acceptance speech, and I thanked my dad, and he literally looked like he took a lap.
Christian has a lot coming up next, from performances to helping more artists make their big introductions.
We just did a Sugarland tour about this time last year. We had 3 or 4 months with Little Big Town. I know we're going to work again. I just finished the new Megan Maroney records. A new artist I'm working with, Peyton Sullivan. She's from Hawaii and Nashville. And I just worked with Kay Michelle, who's from Atlanta, who's an urban R&B hip-hop artist. They've just put out a country record. Anyway, all of this stuff is happening.
Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
It's December 29th, and this is your Fox Daily Snapshot. Today is TikTok Day. It has nothing to do with the social media app. TikTok Day was created to remind all of us about the importance of completing any task that we have not finished before the calendar turns to the new year. The annexation of the Republic of Texas by the United States is approved by the U.S. Congress on this day in 1845, sparking the Mexican War because land between the Rio Grande and the Nueces River was disputed territory. In 2015, Guinea was declared free of Ebola by the World Health Organization. Born on this day in 1936, American actress Mary Tyler Moore, best known for her roles on 2 iconic TV sitcoms, The Dick Van Dyke Show and The Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Come on, what is
Dad, really, it's nothing.
Come on.
No.
Come on.
No.
Get rid of it.
I'm CJ Papa. That's your Fox Daily Snapshot.
The Dean's List with Janice Dean.
A young girl from Texas who saved her brother from choking during a social media challenge makes today's Dean's List. Leah James was participating in the viral Warhead Candy Challenge with her 7-year-old brother Logan. The scary moment was caught on camera when they were both jumping on a trampoline, seeing who could keep the sour candy in their mouth the longest. All of a sudden, Logan began holding his throat and struggling to breathe. Leah asked if he was okay and gave him a couple of pats on the back, and then realized he was choking. 10-year-old Leah remembered the Heimlich maneuver, something their mom had taught her, and now she was going to use it. Leah calmly wrapped her arms around her brother and performed the abdominal thrusts perfectly. Her brother Logan was able to get the candy out of his throat and was able to take a breath. The police department praised Leah for her quick thinking and called her actions both brave and life-saving. Janice Dean, Fox News.
It's Fox Wheels.
A new survey by YouGov shows that car dealerships have more work to do to close deals in the new year. That 63% of Americans are avoiding dealerships, choosing to buy online, and that transparency and hospitality top the list of car buyer must-haves to return to dealerships. The YouGov report shows that 56% of Americans say transparent pricing at dealerships would make them more likely to purchase from a dealership. 41% say honoring the price shown online once in the store, and no games, no add-ons is a factor. While 34% say atmosphere or in-store hospitality would also make them more likely to buy a vehicle in person. And while test drives remain one of the biggest draws for customers to come to dealerships, YouGov reports the most common reason for walking into a dealership or showroom today, it's not for browsing a new model, but rather for servicing or repairs. That's Fox Wheels. I'm Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
Need a break from all the political talk? Tune into Holy Crap It's Sports with Pete Davis every weekday at 5:20 on The Kimmer Show. It's your daily dose of what's hot in the sports world, from the field to the locker room, with Pete's unfiltered opinion and a side of laughs. It's smart, it's funny, it's sports with edge. Holy Crap It's Sports. Catch it at 5:15 only on The Kimmer Show on Xtra 106.3.
Y arriba yo, mi papá y la chona.
There are a bunch of white girls dancing right now. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's Democrat talk. No, I laugh, folks, because this song that you're hearing now, it's a fun song. It really is. And if you've never look up the translation, because I'm not going to translate it for you here on air. But look it up. It's pretty funny. I mean, the song is about a girl that they call La Chona. And it's pretty funny. But I laugh because every time look, I'm the Mexican not afraid to be American. I go to Mexico a lot. That's where, as my dad would put it, that's where our people are. And I go a lot. I go to Mexico a lot. And one of the places I do go, now I go to Mexico City. I don't go a lot to Mexico City, but I will. But I go to Tuxtla Gutierrez a lot. I go to Chiapas. I go to these areas that aren't the big resort areas. But then at least once a year, I do try to go to a resort area, and usually it's Cancun. I love it there. Absolutely love it there, folks. There's some great all-inclusive hotels that and again, folks, save the money because you want to do it right. You don't want to stay at a 3-star, 3.5 star. You want to go 4-star or 5-star, and you want to stay at one of the all-inclusives. And if you guys email me, I will tell you where to stay. I'll tell you some places that you may not find easily, but I can tell you they're there. But I love doing this. But every time I'm there, and you know, if you've never stayed in an all-inclusive, it's usually some just huge resorts on the beach, and they have beautiful, beautiful pools. And all day when you're hanging out by the pool, and they've got bars and restaurants all over the place, and everything's included. You pay one price and everything's included. And so you're hanging out. You don't have to carry money with you. The tips are included. When you pay your price, everything's included. Tips as well. So when you're walking around the resort, you don't have to carry a wallet or money, anything. anything. You just take your happy little self and you go pool to pool and restaurant to restaurant, bar to bar, whatever you want to do. Even if you hang out on the beach, they will bring the food and drinks to you. It's that great. But every time I'm there, they'll play La Chona. And the Mexican people, because I talk to some of the workers, I love joking with them, because every time I'm there and these Mexicans I see them look at each other and start joking, the DJ guys and the guys that are doing all the activities around the pool. When I see that look on their face, I know. I turn to my wife and I say, La Chona is about to come on. And sure enough, La Chona will come on, and every white girl from the United States and Canada, because there's usually a lot of Canadians and United States people there, they love that song. It just cracks me up. The Mexican people are sitting around going, look at these fools dancing. It's just fun. But that song just reminds me of that, and it's just some good times. All right, folks, I am Victor Armendariz, your Mexicano, not afraid to be Americano, and I am filling in for the Morning Extra, filling in for Tug and Los. Thanks to them. I heard coming out of that break tonight is and look, I'm going to do my version of Pete. I'm going to try to do sports. I learned. I got to tell you, folks. You guys, I know a lot of you listen to the Kimmer. Pete Davis does a great job with sports, and I've learned more from him doing his sports thing than probably anywhere else. So if you don't listen to the Kimmer, you need to listen to the Kimmer and Pete Davis from 3 to 6, right here on Extra 106.3. And every now and then you'll hear me fill in for the Kimmer, and it's a great pleasure. I tell you, folks, for those of you who are Kimmer fans, I actually did a motorcycle ride and met Kimmer years and years and years ago, and I totally believe that the Kimmer picked the place to meet because he wanted to pick where a bunch of Kimmer babes were. So we met at Hooters, and hopefully Kimmer won't kill me for telling that story. Anyway, so tonight, the Atlanta Falcons are playing the Rams, and it's a Monday night home game. And folks, I love it. I'm always honest with you guys. My passion sport is soccer and motocross racing. But I always root for the home teams. I try to root for the home teams, and Atlanta Falcons. They're hard to root for sometimes, but I support them anyway. They're my team. They're Atlanta. And now, full disclosure, I grew up being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And my goodness, it's hard to be a Pittsburgh Steelers fan right now, too. And I know there's a few of you out there because no matter where I go, whether it's Spain or Mexico or any other place I've been, I run into more Steelers fans. It's the craziest thing. But I won't even talk about the Steelers right now because I've got some friends that are listening and they're big Steelers fans, and I'll just make them mad because we are all wondering when they're going to get rid of the Coach Tomlin. I mean, I think his time is done, and they need to right that ship. Even though, I know some of you are out there going, but they're going to they might make the playoffs. Yeah, whatever, please. I don't want to see them in the playoffs because they're going to get the tails kicked by whenever they play a decent team. They couldn't even beat the Cleveland Browns. I mean, come on. But anyway, so Atlanta Falcons, that's our team. That's our team here. We are Atlanta Falcons. We live, breathe Atlanta Falcons here, and they are playing Monday Night Football. So the coolest thing about tonight, turn on the game, folks, because it's really cool for a Monday night game where the country is watching this. I mean, come on, folks. The NFL is, I believe, the most watched sports in this country, or the most watched. I mean, the NFL is what people watch in this country, and turning it on tonight and seeing the city of Atlanta. I mean, folks, listen, you live here. Have pride in your city. I know not everything is perfect in Atlanta, but it's Atlanta, and this is our city. This is our town, and we should have pride for it. And watch it. Turn on the TV tonight, and at least watch the beginning of Monday Night Football, because when they show the Atlanta skyline, because it's here, it's just awesome. And I know it's a fairy tale to think we're going to beat the Rams, as producer Jerry looks at me, and
Rams are 7.5-point favorites on the road.
Oh gosh. Well, look, stranger things have happened. The Falcons can lose to the Jets and turn around and beat the Buccaneers. So who knows? But I won't hold my breath tonight. But it's still cool to see Atlanta featured as a Monday Night Football, and you're going to see Atlanta, and maybe. And if anybody out there with the Falcons organization, or maybe some players are up this early starting to train, if you're listening to me, let the idea that the country will have their eyes on Atlanta, let that lift you up as you go into the stadium tonight. Don't think about your record. Who cares? And I know they don't have it right, Producer Jerry. They don't have a chance to be in the playoffs, right?
The Falcons?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. So they don't have a chance. So you've got nothing to lose, but you've got everything to play for because the country's going to be watching. They're going to be looking at Atlanta. So you go into that field tonight, or go into Mercedes-Benz. That's your home. That's your house, as they like to say. And you play with a pep in your step as if you were in the Super Bowl. That's what you should do tonight, Atlanta Falcons. So if Arthur Blank, if you're hearing me, and I actually met you once, he's not going to remember me, but I met Arthur Blank. Good guy. I want you guys to go out on that field tonight and you play like you were playing in the Super Bowl. And by golly, who knows? Atlanta could pull off a big old upset tonight because nobody watching tonight thinks Atlanta has a chance. So Atlanta Falcons, you get on that field and you play like it was a Super Bowl. This would just be fun to watch. And who knows? We may come in tomorrow and have something fun to talk about. So, all right, folks, we're up against this hard break. Listen, when we get back after the top of the hour, I'm going to get into some Obamacare talk, some Supreme Court talk, and some tariff talk, and who knows where it'll take us, but we're gonna have some fun. You guys come back.
Time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, I'm not that much of a jock sniffer, but my favorite pro team overall is the Atlanta Braves. And one reason, they just won't take any stuff off of anyone. Years ago, spring training, West Palm Beach, Florida. The Braves are ready to sign an agreement to extend their lease on that dismal little stadium, and the county commissioner says, wait a minute, I think we need more money from them for utilities. The Braves said, fine, we're out of here. Next day they announced Disney. Then we have Atlanta. The Braves want a brand new stadium, and they want development rights around that new stadium, same location, so they could a true year-round tourist magnet. As I remember it, the city of Atlanta said, oh, no thanks, we'll keep the development rights. The Braves said bye-bye and moved to Cobb County. And I spent last week at the Battery, home of Truist Park, the Atlanta Braves' new home, and it is amazing. Something that could not have been done in Atlanta. Sports franchises from around the country visit Atlanta just to see that facility. What the Atlanta Braves have done there. If you haven't seen it, you need to make a visit, baseball game or not. There's a great hotel, plenty of restaurants, shops, attractions, you name it. It is totally fantastic. Once again, government tries to bully the Atlanta Braves, and government loses. I'll be back for a few Braves games as long as they don't put me on top of the dugout to sing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Never again. Neil Bortz, Xtra 106.3.
Hi, it's Los, here with Tom Mitchell, the Honest Car Guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
At the Honest Car Guy, the entire process is completely transparent. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee, and we even prove it by giving you a copy of the bill of sale. We can sell you any make, any year, any model, and at the Honest Car Guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
This is House Call for Health. Winters are cold. for a lot of the country anyway. The Rhode Island Department of Health has some tips for staying safe and warm during these months to help prevent cold-related illnesses. First, don't let the cold stop you from staying active. Warm up with stretching and light activity and layer up for warmth. Wear an inner layer that doesn't absorb moisture, an insulation layer to retain heat, and an outer layer to protect you from the elements like wind, rain, and snow. You can also try activities like snowshoeing, cross-country skiing, or ice skating. Then beware of cold-related illnesses like frostbite and hypothermia. Also the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning. Never use a gas range or oven to heat your house. Don't use charcoal grills or portable camping stoves inside the home. And if you need to use a generator, make sure it's outside and safely vented. For more health news, go to foxnewshealth.com. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
The Morning Extra. Glenn Beck, Clay and Buck, and The Kimmer Show on WFOM and W292 EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station. Extra 106.3.
See it end, and Ukraine would like to see it, and I think it's time to end.
And President Trump says they made progress in another meeting yesterday with Ukraine's leader.
Presidents Trump and Zelensky are saying that their meeting yesterday was excellent. They say they're about 90 to 90% of the way there when it comes to a deal. They're making a lot of progress, but they do acknowledge there are some issues.
That's Fox's Madison Scarpino in West Palm Beach, Florida, near the Trump Mar-a-Lago resort where the president and Volodymyr Zelensky talked.
Some of those issues are territorial concessions, which is very sensitive for Ukrainians. And Zelensky says there would need to be a referendum to give up any territory. Other big sticking points of the peace plan are security guarantees and demilitarization zones.
The president also had another call with Russian leader Vladimir Putin. Later today, he turns to a war he helped stop in Gaza, meeting at Mar-a-Lago with Israel's prime minister, discussing that ceasefire.
The second phase of that plan remains in doubt. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have struck differing positions over the makeup of an international stability force in Gaza and expansion of West Bank settlements. Netanyahu has also announced plans for Israel to develop a domestic weapons manufacturing industry.
That's Fox's Jared Halpern. Taiwan's military is on alert as China plays war games today, doing drills with its army and navy all around the island it claims is Chinese territory. They have a lot of snow to clear. From Iowa to Michigan after a weekend blizzard made travel difficult. Other areas got hit too, and there were more than 21,000 flights delayed Saturday and Sunday, with another 1,100 this morning and 368 flights canceled.
The airports that were in the most rough shape yesterday continue to be that way today. We have Minneapolis, Atlanta, and of course here at O'Hare.
Fox Business Network's Kelly Saberi in Chicago, where it's snowing, so she says driving to the airport is also not easy. America's listening to Fox News.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
No traffic, no big deal. It's the Morning Extra on 106.3.
Eastbound and down, loading up and trucking. Are we gonna do what they say can't be done? We've got a long way to go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am Victor Armendariz, a Mexican, not afraid to be American. Not afraid to be American. Listen, folks, I'm not angry. I'm just right. I'm just right. You are tuned into Extra 106.3. Extra 106.3. It is the Morning Extra, and I am filling in for Tug and Los. It's a pleasure to do so. Folks, I'll be here with you tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll be here with you tomorrow and Wednesday. And be sure to follow me, folks. Listen, I am Victor Armendariz, Armendariz. My show is called The Victor Armendariz Show. And I'd love to be here at 106.3. So Glad to be filling in. I want to take a second before I get into, because I'm going to get into some stuff here, some serious stuff. But before I do that, I've got to give a shout out to my parents. They just had their 62nd anniversary. Those two, I don't know if one would survive without the other. 62 years. So my parents, happy anniversary to them. That's amazing, ladies and gentlemen. And I tell you, maybe we don't see it enough of these long-lasting marriages. And I hope, I was reading an article the other day about the revival, the Gen Z revival, where they're starting to go back to church. Young people are going back to church. They're seeking their relationship with God, and what a great thing that is. I also saw a report that Christian music was on its way up as in popularity. These are all good things. They're good things, and maybe that'll lead to, one thing this country's been lacking, because and listen, some of you may laugh at me, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm not making this stuff up. Your Democrat Party, because of the way they've structured themselves and the way they believe in Marxism and socialism, they don't like a nuclear family. Don't believe me? Go look up. They probably changed it now, but you remember BLM, all the BLM mess that was out there, that they acted like they were for black folks when all they were for themselves. The people who ran BLM, go look up how many mansions they have and how many millions of dollars that they've acquired off the backs of scaring corporations and people. But if you looked at their website before, they called for a destruction of the nuclear family. They don't like the idea of a husband, a wife, and kids, and then staying together, and the parents being the driving force behind the children and guiding those children and keeping an eye on government schools. Because look, I understand not everybody can homeschool, not everybody can go to a private school or a charter school. And my goodness, if you live in Democrat areas, you don't even get school choice. And unfortunately, here in Georgia, the state of Georgia that is still heavily Republican, why don't we have school choice here, or more school choice? Why isn't school choice on the agenda? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I haven't looked closely recently to local politics, and I guess I'm going to have to. More and more, because when I do my show, the Victor Armendariz Show, it's across the country, so I stick to national issues. But being here more for 106.3, I'm going to start getting more focused in. And I'm going to focus in anyway, because we have a governor's race in Georgia. We have a governor's race coming up in Georgia, so I'm going to zone in on that and focus in on that, because we have to be careful about the governor. We have to be careful about which Republican we allow to come out of the primaries and lead the Republican Party to hopeful victory of the governor's mansion. We cannot allow the Democrats to take control of this state. We cannot allow it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, are the Republicans perfect in Georgia? No. Goodness, no. Can they do better? Absolutely. But they are better than the Democrats. And we, the people, we, the Republican, whoever's voting Republican, we need to hold them accountable. We need to make the Republican Party better. And you do that by local elections. I cannot tell you how important local elections are. Folks, don't just be focused on the presidency. Don't be just focused on the senators and up there in Washington and the House members up there in Washington. You better be focused on your local politics, because let me tell you, your politics, they start local. If you lose control of your local politics, then man, it isn't going to matter much what's going on the national level, because what you can reach out and touch now, metaphorically, but you can't reach out and grab your representative so much in Washington, but you sure can grab usually that local guy. And those local races, so few people vote that you can change your local election so easily by getting involved. And I'm telling you, if you don't pay attention, trust me, I left the Chamblee-Brookhaven area. Brookhaven is an area, Chamblee area, the beautiful part of Atlanta. It's in the perimeter, in the city. Beautiful park. Chamblee and Brookhaven, just absolutely awesome. Both of those cities are falling in the hands of the Democrats. You've got, I don't know why, but all these Democrat elites are moving. I guess they're running away from Midtown and all the city of Atlanta, and they're running away from Fulton County. So they jump into DeKalb County, unincorporated DeKalb. I don't know if it's still unincorporated DeKalb, but that's DeKalb County there in Chamblee. It's just south of Buckhead. You know, you come out of downtown Atlanta, you go through Midtown, you go through Buckhead, and then you get to Chamblee and Brookhaven. Great area. And it's in DeKalb. It used to be low taxes until the Democrats got a hold of it. And now the taxes are through the roof. My taxes, ladies and gentlemen, because of DeKalb County Democrats, my taxes, before I sold my house and left the city, more than doubled in a year. In a year. I mean, it's asinine. I mean, my you have a mortgage and you're paying the mortgage. When your property taxes go up, then your mortgage is going up. I got news for you. You may have a fixed rate, but when your property taxes go up, your mortgage goes up. My mortgage in 1 year went up over $600 because of property taxes increases. I'm telling you, if you don't pay attention to your local politics, you will rue that day. You're going to rue the day. Local politics, you got to stay tuned, folks. I know it's boring, and I know you got better things you want to do. But I'm telling you, this is your life. These people, they get into power and they get power hungry, and then they start doing these things that they themselves will try to exempt themselves from, but you're not going to be exempted from it. I mean, it's crazy. These people trust me, you go look at the people that run DeKalb County, they're not paying the property taxes that they're putting on people in Brookhaven and in Chamblee. And then the locals, you break it down from the county to your municipalities, your Chamblee City Council, your Brookhaven City Council. You break it down to that level, and you let Democrats take it over, like what's happening in Chamblee and what's happening in Brookhaven. Then your city taxes are going up. I mean, it's crazy what's happening, and then crime goes up. I'm sorry, folks. Where there is Democrat leadership, there is crime going up. Now, I don't care what figures they show you, but if you live there, you see it. And I saw Chamblee go through changes, folks. I lived in Chamblee and Brookhaven for a long time, and I saw it change. I was part of the pro Brookhaven crowd when Brookhaven became a city, and it was great. But fast forward 15 or so odd years, it's changed. And that's why I left. But that's why I want you to pay attention to your local politics, not just the Washington, not just the big politics. You got to pay attention to local. You really do, because these people, especially on the local level, boy, they may not be able to get elected to a higher level, so they get elected they start with their HOAs. See, there's another, boy, I could get on that soapbox for a good while. I don't like HOAs because you get people that can't, either they're not excelling in what they're doing, or maybe they don't feel like they should be where they are on their careers, and they can't go run for Congress or for city council. So what do? They join the HOA, and boy, that's where they get their quest for power, because they get a little taste of power. And then these HOA people, go look it up. I don't know this, but I'll bet you half the people or more that sit on city councils around this country were probably, before that, they were probably on HOAs. Folks, Alexa, I said, I don't know this to be true, but I would guess, if I were a betting man, I'd put a couple of dollars down, that I'll bet you half or more of the people that sit on city councils were probably in HOAs before they were on city councils, or they're on both, or they may be on both. But these people, they get this thirst for power because they feel. Look what they did during COVID. If you ever needed an example of politicians, whether they're on the city level, the county level, or the national level, the state level, or the national level, if you ever wanted to see what their thirst for power looked like, then go back and look at COVID. Look what they did to you. Look what they did to us. They didn't hesitate. As soon as they saw the first Democrat go, I'm going to force you to put a diaper on your face. There was no science for that. In fact, the CDC website before COVID did not advocate for mask wearing. It did not advocate for everyday mask wearing because it's not good for you. It's just not good for you. And but yet, what did they do? What did they do? They wanted to force you to do it. They loved it. They loved it. Your politicians, mostly Democrats, the minute from the city level to the state level to the county level to the national level, they wanted to see how far they could push you, and they used COVID to do it. And too many of you people, I can't believe how many of you would bark at me in the grocery store because I wouldn't wear a mask. And I was even outside at the dog park and had people barking at me, not their dogs, the people, because I wouldn't wear a mask. I mean, I'm sorry, folks, man. I mean, there are people with mental issues now because of what politicians did to the people of this country. Now, I say that because I want you guys to because not enough people talk about this. I don't know if there are other politicians, if there are other radio show hosts that will give you the perspective that I have. Folks, listen, I don't really care about the feelings of politicians, and I really don't care too much about the feelings of voters. I care about are we losing independence or are we gaining our independence? Are we losing freedoms or are we gaining freedoms? Are we abiding by the Constitution or are we allowing the Constitution to just be ripped to shreds? Are we allowing politicians to say, oh, well, this is the new norm, and then give up? And in the name of security, are we going to give up freedoms? Are we going to give up more civil rights? I mean, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I care about. We're in the greatest country in the world. And believe you me, and again, I say this, if you haven't been out of this country, then you can't argue with me. And if you've only been on a backpacking tour that somebody paid for you, then I don't want to hear your argument either. If you've been to some of the countries that I've been, and you've seen the poverty that I've seen, and you've stayed a good amount of time in a different country, trust me, you cannot wait to get back to the United States. You cannot wait to get back to the United States. Listen, folks, I love my heritage. I love the country of Mexico. They got problems, but there's some beautiful places in Mexico. There's some great food in Mexico. But I wouldn't live there over the United States if you paid me. I wouldn't. I can't wait. My own father, who was born and raised in Mexico, all over Mexico, he spent time all over Mexico. He wouldn't live in Mexico over the United States. My mother wouldn't live in Mexico over the United States. Nor would my sisters, nor would my brother. So that ought to tell you something. That ought to tell you something right there. Now, so I'm not afraid to tell you this is the greatest country on the planet. We are an exceptional nation. I don't care what the media tells you. I don't care what the Democrats will tell you. We are a great nation. You have Democrats that will actually look at you, and you have media people that will look at you and tell you that this isn't a great nation, or that we're not exceptional. We're no better than anyone else. Okay, yeah, whatever. Tell that to the people that came here, like my dad, and he chased the American dream. Tell that to the people like my father and my uncle, who came here with nothing, couldn't speak the language, but learned the language, assimilated, waved the American flag, obtained their citizenship. They did it all the right way and stayed here because this was the land of opportunity. This is where the American dream was. There was no Mexican dream. There's no Spanish dream. There's no French dream. There's no German dream. It's the American dream. And that's something that I hope you guys, I hope if you're listening to me, that I light a fire in your belly to have pride for this country, love your country, teach your children to love this country. If your children go to a government school and they come home and they start talking negative about this country, you need to get that negative out of them. Now, don't beat it out of them. I'm not advocating that. No, you tell them what it means to be an American. Do you know what you need to do if you've got young children? Go get the Rush Limbaugh series of the history books that he wrote for children, that him and Catherine wrote. Go get those. Those are great historical books. They really are, and they're an easy read and a fun read. Teach what the founding fathers went through. Teach what the colonists, what these people did back then, what these first Americans did, what they had to go through. Teach what the Pilgrims had to go through. Teach the message of Thanksgiving. Teach these things to your kids because the schools aren't doing it. The schools aren't doing it. You do it. You as a parent. You teach what the founders of this country went through. Was everything perfect? No. Were they perfect? No. But did they create an amazing country? Yes. Should you be proud of this country? Yes. This country, the United States, have lifted more people out of poverty than any nation in the world. This is the country that is first to go help people, even our enemies. If there's a natural disaster, we're the first country to be there. Who came to help us at 9/11? Think about it, folks. We are the greatest place on the planet. Our people are the most giving people on the planet. We've achieved more. Folks, we're the youngest. Think about it. We're about to turn 250 years old this year. 250 years old. That's this country. Go look at how old the other countries are. Go look how old Europe is. Listen, Europe is beautiful. I love Europe. I wouldn't live there, but I love it. But look what this country did. Look what we did. Look at all the countries that are able to do what they're doing now because of the young and vibrant United States. You carry an iPhone because of the United States. We're on the brink of quantum computing because of the United States. We are in the evolution of AI because of the United States. We are curing more diseases, and hopefully we're on the way to curing cancer because of the United States. This is where it's at, folks. And you should be proud. So have pride. Have pride in your country. Okay. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. When we come back, I want to get into a lot of stuff that's going on up in Washington, and some things that are going to hit hard in Georgia if we don't watch out what's going on. And guys, you got to be vibrant here and pay attention. We'll be right back.
Xtra 106.3 is proud to be a community station that shares your values. This is your station, talking about issues and stories that are most important to you and your family. Stream us live on our all-new app in crystal clear HD and always live on your radio at 106.3 FM.
Christmas is over, so why not get what you really wanted? Jaron Solomon here, and now is the time to treat yourself to the perfect piece at Solomon Brothers Jewelers, because you deserve it. Or maybe your New Year's resolution is to make someone else's dream come true with the perfect engagement ring. Or Valentine's Day with a gift that says it all. No matter what you are shopping for, we have 3 Atlanta locations in Buckhead, Alpharetta, and Sharpsburg, and endless ways to celebrate you and the ones you love. Don't forget to head to the website at SolomonBrothers.com to check out the clearance page to get the absolute best deals on the styles we simply bought too much of for 2025. And with our low price guarantee and flexible financing, luxury has never been more accessible. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, helping Atlanta say I do since 1982.
Atlanta Braves single game tickets for the 2026 season are now on sale. Get your tickets for some exciting NL East matchups next season, plus great series against the Red Sox, Cubs, Dodgers, and more. And snag the first giveaway of the season, the Drake Baldwin Rookie of the Year bobblehead, presented by Coca-Cola on March 31st during the opening homestand.
Baldwin sends one soaring, got a shot, and that is out of here.
And fans can also look forward to the return of some popular ticket packages, including Hello Kitty, Girls Night Out, and Father's Day Catch on the Field, which includes a 20-minute session on the field after the game to play catch. And the Braves are excited to also announce some brand new ticket packages honoring pop culture icons SpongeBob and Snoopy. And it's never too soon to plan your group outing. Great seats and hospitality spaces are also on sale. So visit Braves.com/promos to see more details and purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves country.
Fox on Tech.
You might soon be able to change your identity in all things Google. Nothing is official yet, but some eagle-eyed watchers of Google's account help page in the Hindi language saw that Gmail users can now change their Gmail account names, which would also include their Gmail email addresses. While no English language support has revealed the change in the feature, the Hindi page does say the power to change the name will roll out to all markets eventually. This could be particularly helpful to people who would rather not use the same silly handle they picked while still a teenager. Looking at you, Bieber fan for life 2002. The original names will be retained as aliases and will even work for signing into Google services such as workplace apps, Maps, and YouTube, and for third-party services using Google for sign-on. And those who do change their name can't change it again for another 12 months. With Fox on Tech, I'm Eben Brown, Fox News.
Fox on Film.
If there is something you can do, then you must do it.
James Cameron's sci-fi threequel Avatar: Fire and Ash remained comfortably atop the domestic box office over the Christmas stretch. Avatar 3 added a solid $64 million over the traditional weekend and $88 million since Christmas. Meantime, a trio of new holiday releases: A24's sports dramedy Marty Supreme, the Focus Features musical tearjerker Song Sung Blue, and Sony's action comedy Anaconda help keep multiplexes bustling. But they were not enough to fend off the Disney animated sequel Zootopia 2, which returned to the number 2 spot in its 5th weekend of release. Carmen Roberts, Fox News.
This is Poll Paris with Fox News Director of Polling, Dana Blanton.
Can you believe 2025 is almost over? How do you feel when you look back at the major events? A second Donald Trump inauguration, AI expanding, continuing gloomy views on the economy, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. It's a weighty mix, and voters feel that. Our Fox News survey finds 2/3, 65%, think it was a bad year for the country. 35% say good. While that's low, it's the highest number saying it was a good year for the country in 5 years. People give more upbeat reviews of how things went for them personally. 45% say 2025 was a good year for their family, the highest since 2019. Of course, there's the traditional partisan divide. More than 6 in 10 Republicans say it was a good year for their family and the country, while 3 in 10 Democrats say it was a good year for them, and just 1 in 10 say it was a good year for the nation. I'm Dana Blanton, and that's your Poll Paris.
The stories that matter to you. These are your Georgia headlines.
It's Monday, December 29th. Atlanta police moved in Saturday night to break up a large crowd of unruly teens at Atlantic Station after reports of gunfire and fireworks. Officers say the teens initially set off fireworks in the shopping district, and as the crowd dispersed, gunshots were fired, damaging nearby businesses and a vehicle. No injuries were reported. 5 teens have been detained, and the investigation remains ongoing. Atlanta engineering students now have a new pathway into Georgia's aerospace sector with a program launched by the Georgia Aerospace and Defense Alliance, uniting Mercer, Georgia Tech, Georgia Southern, and Kennesaw State. The initiative is designed to strengthen Georgia's aerospace workforce pipeline, aligning education with industry demands to keep talent and jobs in Georgia. Leaders say the effort will benefit students and employers in Georgia's top export industry. And NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal has been promoted to Chief of Community Relations with the Henry County Sheriff's Office. Shaq's community outreach work in the county spans several years. He says he's honored to serve and strengthen community relationships. Today's weather starting off wet with showers, then windy and cool with highs in the mid-40s. With your headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
We've been traveling far.
Folks, this song is just, it has such a meaning for me and from, gosh, my family, just because of what my dad did and what my uncle did. Just amazing. Just love it. Love it. America. That's right, baby. America. All right. So before I get into some things, I'm going to get into this to this guy. If you need an example of what I mean by what today's Democrats are doing to you, then I'm going to get into Waltz. Just look at Tim Waltz, at what this guy's got away with and what he's probably going to get away with. I mean, let's hope not, but I'm going to get into that. But before I do, there was one little sports thing I forgot to mention, and I just saw something come across the computer, come across the interwebs. I just find this funny because I call them the Kansas City. You'll know them as the Kansas City Chiefs. I call them the Kansas City Swifts. And I just saw something else that was just reminding us that we don't have to worry about the Kansas City Swifts being in the Super Bowl. We're not going to have to worry about nonstop coverage of Taylor Swift. So for the Super Bowl. So this is a good thing. You can concentrate on all the good commercials and maybe see a decent replay instead of seeing a replay of Taylor Swift's reactions during the Super Bowl. So that's a good thing. No Kansas City Swifts for the Super Bowl. Now, I want to say this too. I feel real sorry and bad for Mahomes because I know he's out. I believe producer Jerry was telling me he tore an ACL. As somebody who's now I'm sitting, but I have to do this show mostly standing because I can't bend my knee. So as somebody who has a knee injury myself, it's awful, folks. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. So I hope Mahomes has a very speedy recovery. I hope it's much speedier than mine, but he's a lot younger than me, so he will recover quicker than me. I do hope the best for him. I just don't want to see the Kansas City Swifts in the Super Bowl. I want to see some different people in the Super Bowl. Who do we think's going to be there? Think about that, and maybe tomorrow we'll give our best guesses on who's going to be in the Super Bowl. So think it over. It ain't going to be the Kansas City Swifts. So, all right, folks, listen. I've been telling you that, especially if you're a fellow minority voter, if you are one of my fellow minority voters, and folks, welcome back. It's Extra 106.3, Extra 106.3, the Morning Extra. I am Victor Armendariz, your Mexican, not afraid to be American, filling in for Tug and Los. I'm going to get this right. If you want to know what I'm talking about, when I am telling you, if you haven't walked away from today's Democrat Party, I'm not telling you that you can't be a Democrat. All right? I don't want to make you upset. But what I am telling you, if you're a yesterday's Democrat, you can't be a today's Democrat. Today's Democrat is not even Clinton's Democrats of Bill Clinton days. And they're darn sure not the JFK Democrats. So you have to see what the Democrats are doing to you. And if, as a minority voter, you've got to understand the abuse and they're using us. They're using us. They're abusing us. And don't allow them to do it. And the way to not allow them to do it is to stop voting for them. You don't have to vote for a Democrat. The letter D in DNA doesn't stand for Democrat. So just because you might be a minority, you don't have to vote Democrat. Vote for a Republican and watch the Democrats start to actually listen to you because they're not listening to you now. Because trust me, if you're a black family out there, I know you're not in on all this dudes dressing up as girls and getting into girl sports and beating the crap out of girls. I know you're not into that. If you're a black family, I know you want school choice. You're not going to get it from a Democrat. You're not going to get it from a Democrat. If you're a black business owner, you need lower taxes. You're not going to get it from a Democrat. I don't care what they tell you. They're lying to you when they tell you they're gonna help you somehow. No, Democrats never seen a tax they don't love to increase. They're not helping you. They're not helping us. So no matter really what your background is, if you've been a Democrat, you can't be a Democrat today. They're just not the same. Unless you want subjugation, unless you want less self-reliance, if you want to be dependent, if you want open borders, if you want crime to go through the roof in your neighborhood, if you want police to retire and not young people not want to be new police officers. So if you want a lack of police officers in your area, if you want higher taxes, if you want more inflation, if you want higher prices, if you want all of these things and less freedom, boy, that's a big one. If you want less freedom, because the Democrats are going to tell you what kind of car to drive. They're going to tell you what kind of washer and dryer you can buy. They're going to tell you what kind of hot water heater to have. They're going to tell you what degrees to put your thermostat on. They're going to tell you how much gas you can buy, when you can buy it. They're going to tell you you can't have gas. You can't have natural gas. They're going to tell you got to go spend money you don't have on solar panels that, oddly enough, you're going to buy from the politician. The politician who's got their hands somewhere in China, or they've got their buddies somewhere in some solar company so that they can get all the kickbacks. You're going to have to come up with that money to buy solar panels because they're not going to. This is what the Democrat wants to do to you. This is what today's Democrat Party wants to do to you. And if you're a Second Amendment person, oh, well, forget about that. You're not allowed to protect yourself. In the Democrat eyes, you are not as valuable as a Democrat. You've got people like Crockett and some of these other bozo Democrats who I don't know how these people get elected, because I'm sorry, I'm going to say this, but they're dumber than dirt. These people, they really are low IQ. When Donald Trump says that, it just makes me laugh because they are low IQ. These people get elected. They surround themselves with 24/7 security. Can you, ladies and gentlemen, can you surround yourself with 24 security? Can you afford? You might have a Ring camera, but that Ring camera is not going to pull out a weapon to stop somebody from invading your house. That camera and the dash cam in your car is not going to stop somebody from walking up and trying to carjack you. Because you can't afford 24 hours surrounded by security with heavy armed, nice, beautiful weapons. But the Democrats do. The Democrats tell you that you don't deserve a Second Amendment. You just don't understand the Second Amendment because it doesn't really mean that you can have a gun. You can't protect yourself. This is what the Democrat Party tells you. You can't protect your house. You know why? Because the Democrats don't really want you to own a house. That's why what they do with property taxes by raising them is so they can get you, eventually they'll get you out of that house. They're going to get you out of that house one way or another. They want you renting from the government. You've got to understand this. So when I give you these examples of Democrats and what they're doing today versus what they did back in JFK days, it's just not the same. And I tell you all that to give you this great example. Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, look at what this guy, you cannot tell me that this guy didn't know this fraud was going on. In fact, there have been reports out that said that the Minnesota people, the governorship, the administration there, turned a blind eye to this scam, all this Somalian scam that was going on, and who knows how far it goes beyond the Somalians. But all this scams that's coming to light, all of this money that was being just absolutely stolen money and being abused, the taxpayer being abused in Minnesota, all of that stuff was going on. The governor apparently and his administration, the state, turned a blind eye because they were more worried about the skin color of the person committing the crime. Because, oh my goodness, we can't call out a Somalian for doing these crimes or for abusing government funds or stealing government funds. We can't point it out because they're black. And we have to be all about DEI. We have to be all about equity. Folks, this is Marxism. When you look at somebody or a crime and you try to diminish the severity of the crime or you ignore it because of somebody's skin color, that's what you're doing that in the name of equity. You're doing that in the name of DI because you're trying to look, and this white guy Walz, and what even makes it worse, this guy clearly has white guilt, I guess. But the Democrat, their whole thought process is, well, white people have got... And listen to Tim Walz. He even said this the other day. I'm going to paraphrase, but he basically said, look what white people have gotten away with. This has nothing to do with skin color. I don't care what if a white person stole money a year ago or yesterday, but today somebody else is stealing money. They both stole money. So you don't not go after the Somalians who are robbing you blind just because they're a certain skin color. And this is what it appears that Walz is doing. This is your Democrat Party. Instead of being a good steward of everybody's tax dollars in Minnesota, doesn't matter what your skin color is. If you're working and paying taxes, who cares what your skin color is? You're paying taxes. You expect that money to be spent well. You expect the services, you expect something in return for your sweat equity. For the state of Minnesota seizes a whole lot of taxes because they're a blue state, they're Democrats, people like Waltz running it, so they raise taxes all the time. So they're taking your money at the point of a gun. You don't have a choice not to pay them. You expect them to be good stewards. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. Everybody, every citizen, every taxpayer in Minnesota should be viewed the same. And their money should be taken care of. But Waltz doesn't see it that way. Your Democrat Party doesn't see it that way. And Waltz was not that far from being vice president of this country. What a travesty that would have been. What a disaster that would have been. This guy can't manage the state of Minnesota. What do you think he's going to do if he's ever makes it to national politics, like the position of a vice president behind somebody as incompetent as Kamala Harris? Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, think about it. If this guy lost control of Minnesota and allowed, I heard it might be over 10 million. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars that were stolen from the people of Minnesota, and Tim Walz just turned a blind eye. And now Tim Walz, somehow, it's Trump's fault. Somehow, President Trump wasn't a member of the House in Minnesota or the Senate in Minnesota. President Trump wasn't governor of Minnesota. You are, Tim Walz. You are. And now, look at what's coming out as Tim Walz tries to dodge and weave and blame Trump and blame white people for everything that's going on except blaming himself and his administration. And he doesn't want to blame the Somalians who stole the money. I mean, look at what's going on. Maybe I should say allegedly stole the money because this is still under investigation. But what allegedly happened in Minnesota by a community, and then was just and then the administration Tim Walz leads turns a blind eye because of politics, because of identity, because of DEI and equity. I mean, it's unbelievable. They're abusing the taxpayer. And again, folks, this is what your Democrat will do. They will abuse you because they don't want to lose power. And this is a prime example of what Tim Walz, if he had any character whatsoever, would resign immediately after what is coming to light. In fact, we got a soundbite. Let me play you, ladies and gentlemen, this soundbite. This was an independent investigator. Why hasn't the mainstream media done this? Well, you tell me. But I want you to listen to what this independent reporter, what he found, and just doing some honest, on-the-ground reporting. This is what he found.
Here in Minnesota, massive fraud is taking place within the government and the Somali population. Here, this building alone, Quality Learning Center, is a daycare, yet they spelled learning wrong, and they said leering. This daycare alone in 2025 has received $1.9 million from the government. And the strange things about these childcare centers is there's no one here right now. It's midday on a weekday, and if you were to try to go inside, it's completely closed and the windows are all blacked out. No one's working. Midday, children should be in here, and this place is licensed for 99 children, and this is the outside. There's no windows, no nothing. $1.9 million for this daycare center that can't even spell learning right.
So listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. Listen to that. Your Democrats in Minnesota oversaw a community that swindled taxpayers out of millions of dollars. And this is just one example, is Walz and the Democrats were allowing money. How do they not know this? They are in control of this. If you open a donut shop or if you open a lemonade stand in a neighborhood in Minnesota, Walz is going to come inspect your lemonade stand. He's going to come and make sure he's taxing your lemonade stand, okay? You let your child have a lemonade stand, Walz is going to send his Democrat cronies, and they're going to make sure that you're abiding by the Minnesota rules. But you're going to tell me that he doesn't. Folks, I'm not angry. I'm just right. I'm not angry. I'm just right. But you're going to tell me that Tim Walz didn't know? They didn't have anybody that works in the Department of Revenue or Department of Relegation. They didn't have anybody that's going to go inspect these daycare centers. You're going to tell me that they didn't have some DHS department that investigates and just checks on and makes sure that a place that houses children, a place that is a child daycare, you're telling me that they didn't once go by to see if they were abiding by the rules, to make sure it was clean, to make sure they weren't abusing children? There is no way on God's green earth that Tim Walz and his administration did not know that these so-called child care centers, who couldn't even spell the word learning, a learning center that can't spell learning. If you're a parent and you dropped your kid off, you pull up, picture this. You're driving your child to a daycare center, and it's a learning center for your child while you're working, because the Democrats tax us so much that not many parents can be single income families, so they have to both work. Both parents have to work. So you got to drive your child to a learning center, a daycare center, and you pull up and you look at the front door and the word learn or learning is misspelled. And if you continue to walk there and drop your child off, shame on you. That's child abuse in my eyes. But you can't tell me that. Listen to that one example. You just heard the soundbite. And this year they got $1.9 million. I think last year they got $2.5 million taxpayer dollars, and not one child was in there. The doors were locked. Not one child was in there. These places are scams. These places were set up to be scams. They set them up so they could take and steal taxpayer dollars. And Governor Tim Walz turned a blind eye to it. How does that make you feel?
The latest sports news, powered by 680 The Fan, and driven to extra listeners by RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs, Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz connection since 1964.
Here are your sports headlines for Monday, December 29th. In college football, Georgia Tech ended their 2025 effort in the Pop-Tarts Bowl on Saturday against number 12 BYU. Haynes King threw for 254 yards with 2 touchdowns, but the Ramblin' Wreck fell to the Cougars despite being up 21-10 at halftime, thanks to a 4-yard rushing touchdown by BYU with 2 minutes left. Final score 25-10. In the NFL, the Falcons host the Rams tonight at Mercedes-Benz Stadium to wrap up Week 17 on Monday Night Football. The Super Bowl favorite Rams are favored by 7.5 points. Kickoff is set for 8:15. With your sports headlines, I'm Jerry Payne for Extra 106.3.
Hi, it's Lowe's, here with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, you are changing the way people are buying their next pre-owned car or truck. How are you doing it?
We found a better way for customers to buy a car, an honest way, a very transparent way. You pay what we pay plus our honest fee. We even prove it to you by giving you a copy of the bill of sale at the end of the deal. The honest car guy, you'll save an average of $5,000 to $10,000 depending on the price of the car.
Folks, if you want to save thousands on your next pre-owned car or truck, call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or honestcarguy.com.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair's thinning, your crown's disappearing. Hair loss had me feeling like my identity was lost altogether. John Michaels here from the locker room with a solution that worked for me. It's Advanced Hair's incredible yet simple one-day treatment. Advanced Hair began regrowing my hair the very next day, and after just one visit. I had been aware of all the pills and lotions that came with monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you already have, but I wanted to regrow my hair in specific areas permanently. From Advanced Hair's state-of-the-art facilities to their world-class physicians, it's not maybe your hair will regrow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. You decide how much, how thick, and where. Regrowing my hair with Advanced Hair has been truly life-changing, and for you, it starts with a free consultation. Call now, 872-217-HAIR, mention John Michaels, and you'll receive $250 off and 250 free hair grafts. It's 872-217-HAIR or AdvancedHair.com.
Securing America.
Military recruiting is on a major upswing, something the president foreshadowed when speaking to a joint session of Congress last spring.
In January, the U.S. Army had its single best recruiting month in 15 years, and that all armed services are having among the best recruiting results ever in the history of our services.
The Pentagon recently released numbers that show recruiting for fiscal year 2025 was the best in 15 years. Each service branch reached at least 100% of its goal, with the Navy actually coming in at more than 108% of what it aimed for. At a recent Pentagon event honoring the military's top recruiters, Spokesman Sean Parnell showed appreciation, as he said recruiting is, quote, tough work. You're convincing and talking to people about making a life-changing decision about service. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
I'm Chad Pergram with the Speaker's Lobby. The question in Washington is whether President Trump can rename the Kennedy Center as the Donald J. Trump Kennedy Center. Congress approved construction of what was initially called the National Cultural Center in a 1958 law, but lawmakers renamed it the John F. Kennedy Center in an act of Congress in 1964 as a living memorial. Let's examine the law. The statute declares that, quote, no additional memorials or plaques in the nature of memorials shall be designated or installed in the public areas of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. But there are exceptions. It also says that plaques and signage are somewhat exempt. The question centers on whether changing the name constitutes an additional memorial or plaque, which has some exemptions. However, the statute does not expressly say that name changes are a memorial. Under that provision, it's possible that any memorial could be subject to a name change. And barring congressional intervention, there may be lots of litigation ahead. With the Speaker's Lobby, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute. As 2025 comes to a close, we look back at the true crime cases that captured and rattled the nation. In June, a Massachusetts jury cleared Karen Reed of second-degree murder, manslaughter, and leaving the scene in the 2022 death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe. Instead, jurors convicted her only of a lesser charge, operating under the influence. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs was convicted in July of 2 counts of transporting people for prostitution, while he was acquitted of more serious charges, including racketeering and sex trafficking. Then in August, a California parole board denied Eric and Lyle Menendez release. The brothers were convicted in the 1989 killings of their parents. Then in September, they were denied a new trial. Brian Koberger pleaded guilty in July to 4 counts of first-degree murder for the brutal 2022 stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. A judge sentenced him to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. There's more on these stories at foxnews.com or subscribe to the Fox True Crime Podcast. I'm Gianna Gelosi with your Fox True Crime Minute.
As the left's agenda continues to fail, the whining will only continue to get louder.
I will not stop today. I will not stop tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Extra 106.3 will continue to be the conservative voice of Atlanta. Support our veterans and first responders and be the voice of your community when it matters most. Proud to be the conservative voice of Atlanta. Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra app.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's Victor Armendariz, your Mexican, not afraid to be American, right here on Extra 106.3, Extra 106.3, the Morning Extra. Listen, I would like to apologize. I want to apologize to you. I didn't give the phone number out one time today, and folks, listen, I get on rolls and I like to get on my soapbox because when I stand on the soapbox, people can see me better. Because now I look, folks, it's just the way I do my show, but I'm not. I would love to. I will take your phone call. So tomorrow, I will do more of a focus. So you just remember the call in is 404-741-1230. I don't really have time today. Although, look, if you called in right now, I will take your call. It's going to be short, but I'll take your call. But tomorrow I'll try to field more calls, so you guys will have today to think about what you might want to ask me. So we'll do that tomorrow. Listen, folks, I came across, so I finally found in my stack of stuff, just so I can get your morning going with this. You hear the media. I mean, it blows my mind how disingenuous the mainstream media is, how disingenuous Democrats are. Listen, I know that there are some issues with establishment Republicans like Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell and some of these other guys, Cornyn, and I know. But right now, our biggest problem is the Democrat Party. They have embraced socialism. They're being taken over by young whippersnappers like AOC, who hasn't seen a dictator she doesn't love, hasn't met a socialist she's not in love with. Her new favorite is Mandami. Look, you have a Democrat Party that is more willing to go to a foreign country, break bread with a gang member just to bring him back to this country, an illegal gang member. I mean, this is your today Democrat Party. Today's, but it's just amazing how disingenuous the media is. You know, I often say, if the media were honest, if we had an honest media that just reported the facts, Democrats wouldn't get elected for a long time. Democrats would not get elected if we had an honest media. But we don't have an honest media. We have a sycophant media. We have it's almost like a state-run media with mainstream media these days. And I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, a few weeks ago, I saw Psaki. You remember the old Biden girl? She was talking about inflation, and she actually looked in the camera. You know, she has the show. I forgot what her show's called, but Psaki actually looked at the camera, looked at the audience, the very few that were watching her, because she's over there on MSNBC, I think. And she actually said that the inflation was only 7% under Joe Biden. She actually said, and I'm paraphrasing, but she said something to the nature, or tried to allude. Now, I'm sure she used language where she wouldn't be held to accountable for getting it wrong. So I'm sure she said this in a way I don't remember, but she basically tried to say that under Biden, inflation was a high of 7%. And then she's tried to tell you that Trump came in with low inflation. No, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the truth. It's just amazing that they will tell. I mean, this, of course, this is the people like Psaki and the Democrat media and the Democrats. These are the people that told you Joe Biden, the dementia patient, that Joe Biden was the smartest man alive. These are the people that tried to convince you that Joe Biden was in total, even after the awful. I mean, I felt sorry for the guy after that debate that brought down his downfall. But even after that, they tried to tell you this was the smartest guy in the room, that this guy was with it. He had the control of all his faculties. So a media that will lie to you like that, Democrats that will just tell you untruths or disinformation, let's use their language. A media and Democrat Party that will use disinformation just like that, willy-nilly, to get you to believe something that isn't true. Why do you think they tell you the truth about inflation? So they're trying to tell you it was 7%, and other people will tell you it was 9%. No, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you. In the words of Cousin Mock up in New York, let me tell you something. The Biden left office with a cumulative inflation of 21.5%. Listen to me, folks. You can fact check me to the cows come home. And again, I'm not angry. I'm just right. No, I'm not angry. I am just right. Biden left office with an inflation up a cumulative 21.5%. So it was up a cumulative 21.5% by the time he left office. In fact, inflation was at a 40-year high in 2022. Did they tell you that? No, they'll tell you it was 9%, but it was higher than that. A 40-year high inflation in 2022. Food and grocery costs were up 23.8%. Shelter was up over 24.7%. Electricity was up over 30%. Energy rose to a total over 33.5%, folks. That's the truth. All right, folks. We'll be back tomorrow. Start your morning early with me tomorrow with the Morning Extra.
It's time for the Bortz Report, exclusively on Atlanta's only conservative news and talk station, Xtra 106.3.
Well, I'm not that much of a jock sniffer, but my favorite pro team overall is the Atlanta Braves. And one reason, they just won't take any stuff off of anyone. Years ago, spring training, West Palm Beach, Florida. The Braves are ready to sign an agreement to extend their lease on that dismal little stadium, and the county commissioner says, wait a minute, I think we need more